Hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, and Wales are the 2021 Six Nations champions after France lost to Scotland 27 points to 23. And I said this in my preview, I said Scotland are a much better side than a lot of people are getting credit for, and they will finish fourth on the log just by points difference. They will finish on the same amount of points as Ireland do, but will not have done enough for the points difference. Literally a one. If they had scored 2 more points against France tonight, they would have finished third. But a brilliant performance by Scotland, especially considering the fact that they were down to 14 men. A red card to Finn Russell didn't help the cause at all. Baptiste did give them a chance by getting a yellow card shortly after. But an incredible effort. And France, who had to beat Scotland with a bonus point and 21 points, did not beat Scotland, definitely did not get a 4-try bonus point, and did not win by 21 points. An incredible effort by the Scottish, and what a statement this is for them in terms of the Lions tour coming up. There are a lot of Scottish players today who I think have put their hands up for further selection. And I mean, Scotland, that's a win against France, a win against Italy, and a win against England. That is a very, very good championship for Scotland. And I said so. I said this is the best Scottish side I think I've seen in my lifetime. They really do have the potential to play with the best players. They've got some fantastic individuals. Duan van der Merwe is a seriously good finisher. Stuart Hogg and Finn Russell, they are world-class players. Hamish Watson is absolutely relentless. I thought Gilchrist today in the second row was brilliant. There's some very, very good performances from Scotland, and I think Warren Gatland is going to have a very difficult time trying to sort of choose a squad, because England finishing fifth, rightfully fifth. They're 5 points off the next team. Ireland, Scotland, and Wales 5 to 10 points ahead of England. So it's going to be difficult to now try to justify selecting a majority England squad when you've got these other sides playing so well. But now, before we look at the game itself, please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. It's been a fantastic Six Nations. I'm almost quite upset that it's over, because I do feel the Six Nations where you kind of felt that any team could beat the other. Scotland had some difficult losses. You kind of felt, bar Italy and who just weren't good enough as usual. Did sort of take a few steps, had some nice moments. You can see what Franco Smith's trying to do there. But you did feel that Scotland, they beat France, they beat England. They probably could have beaten Ireland. So they've had some very good moments in the championships. But if you look at this game in particular, quite even in terms of the stats: 44% possession France, 56% possession Scotland, 39% possession France, 61% possession Scotland. Time in the opposition to 22, 12 minutes for Scotland and 6 minutes for France. So France taking a lot more from their visits to the 22. And whereas Scotland, sometimes struggled to convert. They had a lot of opportunities, had a lot of phases, but it took them a while before they managed to sort of convert those visits into points. In terms of the defense, because I always think that that's one of the best sort of indicators. Tackle percentage made, 92% made by France, 87% by Scotland, so decent percentages. France were asked to make 192 and missed 15, whereas Scotland were asked to make 139 and missed 18. So quite a few missed tackles by Scotland. But they didn't really matter in the end. 7 line breaks by France, 2 from Scotland. 16 dominant tackles by France, 7 from Scotland. For all that France did lose, I tell you what, it's such an exciting team to watch. It really is. A couple of times, you look at that try that they score, where Bryce Dulin literally took a quick tap from calling a mark back in his own 22, and they ran the length of the field. Some sensational tries that were scored by France. They really are an incredible team to watch. Being not completely outplayed, but well-deserved losers on the night, but a really, really good side to watch. It really is fantastic rugby. You can see so many good players there. Anton Dupont's only going to get better. Romain Intermac is a world-class player. Gael Fickou, man of the match, he was terrific today. I thought he was really, really good. Set piece wise, France were very good at the scrums. They won 100% of their scrums. Scotland 67%. So there was one area where France did have dominance, and France also stole 2 lineouts. Scotland stole 1 as well, but Scotland conceded 2 scrum penalties to France's 1. And in terms of discipline, a yellow card each and a red card for Scotland, so 3 cards. Discipline continues to be an issue, and I think probably something that they need to relook at World Rugby, because I'm just trying to think of it. I think that's our 4th red card during the Six Nations. correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's about the 4th or the 5th red card we've seen this tournament, which is very, very rare. We don't want to be seeing, 4 or 5 red cards, and yet it's almost unheard of now to see a game without a yellow card. 2 yellow cards tonight. So it's really an issue, and you can understand why. And they are trying to make the game safer, but it is getting a bit much. There's just too many yellow cards. So whether it's a case where they need to, have a real big sort of look at in terms of the teams and the players need to start adapting much quicker, or whether World Rugby needs to step in and maybe sort of decide exactly what classifies a red card and a yellow card. But my feeling just generally is that it's very rare that I watch a game where there isn't a card, and that shouldn't be the case. Cards are supposed to be sort of last resort. So I understand they're trying to make the game safer, but it's such a fine line between making it safer and still trying to sort of keep the integrity of the clash. Because when you're having 4 or 5 red cards, you're having 3 yellow cards, that influences the game far more than who the better side is, and that's not what we want to see. Discipline-wise, they were fairly consistent. 15 penalties conceded each, so not much separating them there. In terms of players who played well, I thought Bryce Julian struggled to begin with, had a horrible opening few minutes, but then really grew into the game. He ran 104 meters. Gail Fiku made 101 meters. Arthur Vincent making 93 meters. That back line for France really did look good today. But Romain Intermac looked quite good. Finn Russell, he really is blockbuster. He's such a good, nice player to watch. You won't always get it all right, and he's very much an on-the-edge sort of player. So he's not your Andre Pollard, for example, even maybe a Dan Biggar, who's sort of quite reliable. You know exactly what you're getting out of them week in, week out. But he lives on the edge. He's exciting. He tries things. And he was once again a pleasure to watch before getting that red card. I think it probably is a red card. I would have liked to have seen a yellow. He tries to go for a handoff and sort of leads with his forehand. Forehand makes contact with the neck of Bryce Julian. There was no malice in it, I don't think. But it is dangerous. It's deemed foul play. There was no mitigating factors, so it is a red card as per the letter of the law. I'm not going to question the decision. I think Wayne Barnes is right to send him off in terms of the letter of the law. My issue sort of comes with, do we need to relook at these laws to try and get to a situation where that's not always a red card? France were looking good in the first half. First opening sort of 15-20 minutes were all Scotland. Scotland really came to play. But then France grew into the game and they scored a try, 13-10 up at half-time. They almost scored a second just before half-time. They had an opportunity. They had a line out right by on the 5-meter line, which they couldn't convert. Scotland stole it and then Duran van der Merwe kicked it out. So if they had scored that and gone into the sort of the half-time 20-10, that's a whole different ball game. They would have had 2 tries and they would have been sitting there saying 2 more tries and we defend. 2 tries, 21-point gap opens, defend. But that wasn't the case. And Scotland, they just never put Scotland to bed. They had opportunities, but they would just concede a penalty here and allow Scotland to come. A bit of a soft try when David Cherry went over. A lineup which sort of fell apart. The ball literally fell to Dave Cherry. He looked up and there was no one in front of him, and he kind of just ramped over a couple of players and jumped down. It was that easy. So I think that's sort of where it was. Is that France weren't clinical enough in terms of being tight enough. They conceded tries which they maybe shouldn't have. Even that Duran van der Merwe try, first one's a little bit sketchy. That first try. Some people are saying maybe it's a double movement. Is he placing it? Is it a double movement? What's the story? But it was given. He scored a brace tonight. I think he's somebody that's definitely knocking on the doors for British and Irish Lions selection, as is Finn Russell, as is Stuart Hogg. Hamish Watson for me is a no-brainer. I thought Grant Gilchrist was very good. Rory Sutherland was good until he went off. George Turner was playing well. It was just a fantastic team effort by Scotland. There were still some big performances by France. As I said, I thought Intermac looked good. Gail Fiku was superb. Greg Aldred tried really hard. Charles Oliver, what he gets to me, heart in the sleeve, a really good player there. Julian Marchand was quite solid. So it was a good game of rugby. I really, really enjoyed the Six Nations. I hope you have too. I think it's been a fantastic tournament. It's been nice and close. It's come down to the wire. The 5 teams, they really have been sort of interchanging in terms of, picking up a win here, losing here. Scotland beating England going on to beat France. France then beating Wales right at the end, to Scotland now beating France right at the end. There's been some phenomenal moments across the tournament. It really has been a pleasure to watch. Let me know what you thought of the game down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel if you are new. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you very soon.